What's going on, everybody? Leon here. It's currently 12:42 a.m. and I don't know what made me want to record this, but I was thinking about how much I love Wake Up Dead today, how it's such an amazing track. And then I started thinking about that first lineup. I started thinking about Gar, his drumming. There was a video that came out recently from Drumeo with Dirk Verburen talking about Wake Up Dead, and I thought that was really, really cool to see that kind of coverage about Gar, talking about Gar. And I really appreciate all of the comments and all of the views and all of the support and the people subscribing to the content that I've been posting. I'm a huge Megadeth fan. Megadeth is my favorite band. If I had to pick my favorite lineup, it would absolutely have to be that first lineup with Chris Poland and Gar Samuelson. I have so much love and appreciation not only for Megadeth, but that first lineup, those first two albums. And I wanted to talk about kind of what led me to do these isolated tracks with Gar, which I'm really, Killing Is My Business specifically, which I'm really happy to see the traction it got, the views, the comments, and everything. If I had to pick my favorite drummer, it would have to be Gar Samuelson. His timing, Chris Poland said in a Return to Metalopolis interview that everything he learned about timing, rhythm, and speed and feel, he learned it from Gar Samuelson. And, it just goes to show that whenever you go and listen to Gar's drums, he's a very, very unique player. He's extremely unorthodox. He really changes it up. He has all these crazy time signature changes, and he's able to stay in the pocket the whole time, and he's very smooth. And one way that I can kind of describe his drumming is that it doesn't sound rushed. It's very smooth, like butter. He plays these things really fast and really quick, but it comes off as extremely smooth, as like he's not rushing. Some drummers, they can play fast stuff and it can sound good, but sometimes it doesn't have that smooth, buttery like feeling like Gar does with his playing. And at a certain point, I remember I was like, dude, I gotta listen to Gar's isolated drums. You know what I mean? Something just drew me in. I was like, dude, I gotta find, I listened to P-Cell so many times, and especially I listened to the Final Kill. I feel like the Killing Is My Business Final Kill mix is really good. That's my favorite mix of the album. The OG is really good, but the Final Kill really brought out Gar's drumming. It really put a highlight and a shine. It really puts the spotlight on Gar's drums in the remix, in the Final Kill. And my cat's running around and being a maniac. But I found Gar's isolated tracks for P-Cells, which made me really happy, and I would listen to them and I was like, this is amazing. I absolutely loved it. And I kept listening and listening and listening, and I was like, dude, this is so good. I was like, I gotta find Killing Is My Business, right? And I kept looking for Killing Is My Business, and I couldn't find it, and it was disappointing, right? Because I was like, dude, I want to hear Gar's isolated Killing Is My Business tracks. And I would find like some like garage band generated stuff, or like some covers saying it was him, but it wasn't actually him, right? So I was like, nah, man, I want to hear Gar himself. I want to hear his Killing Is My Business drums, isolated. And I ended up doing research. I was like, okay, well, I gotta, find a tool that's how they're doing it, right? How are they doing it? I found this one tool. It didn't work out. I was like, all right, I gotta keep looking. And then I finally found a tool, this like AI isolation tool, right? That takes an MP3 of a song, and you can isolate, whatever instrument that you want. And I remember doing the first track with Gar, and I was like, holy fuck, like I'm the first person in the world to isolate Gar's drums and put it on, and be able to put it on YouTube. And that's something that really meant a lot to me, right? I remember hearing it, I was like, wow, this is incredible. Like this definitely meets my expectations, and even more of wanting to hear Gar's drums on Killing Is My Business, right? So, I ended up doing the entire album, and I was like, dude, this is fucking amazing. Like the drumming is so good. It's a lot more aggressive compared to Peace Cells. It's a lot more raw, and really high level stuff. Really, really high level good stuff. And then I started seeing the views it was getting, and the comments, and the love, and everyone talking about Gar. And I want you guys to know that really meant a lot to me. I never knew Gar personally, but from what I've heard from people that did know him, I only heard good things, that he was an awesome person. You know, he seemed like a really charming, funny kind of guy. And it really meant a lot to me that, you know, I was able to take his isolated drums, put it on YouTube. People were able to hear it, enjoy it, love it, share it with their friends, you know. And, you know, I feel like on this channel, I made kind of like this community of not only Megadeth fans, but kind of a more niche Megadeth fans, where it's for that first lineup, right? I feel like it doesn't get as much recognition as the Rust in Peace lineup. Don't get me wrong, I love Rust in Peace, I love the Rust in Peace lineup, but I feel like the first lineup deserves more recognition. I feel like Gar Samuelson deserves more recognition. Anytime I see any videos or anything, or anyone talking about Gar, I love it, you know, because people are giving him praise, and he was a really, really gifted musician, really gifted drummer. And I feel like Gar, he had this ability to influence Dave Mustaine and say certain things to Dave Mustaine that no other member had. I'll give you an example. I got to talk to David Ellefson and Chris Poland, and I asked them, what was your favorite memory with Gar Samuelson? And they both told me the same memory. And it was, but I asked them separately, so it's like funny that they both had the same memory, but you can really tell that it was memorable. You know what I mean? If they both said, like, this is my favorite memory with Gar, I mean, it's super memorable. You know what I mean? So basically, they're all driving that first lineup. They're driving around, I think, in Dave Mustaine's white station wagon, and they were driving to a concert or something like that. Basically, Dave is driving, Mustaine's driving, and then Gar's in the back, and he has this magazine, and Metallica's on the front cover, and he says, see, Dave, if you weren't such an asshole, you'd be on this front cover too. And then Mustaine was like, oh, fuck off, right? And, you know, they said, like, dude, no one else would have been able to talk to Dave like that, with Dave Mustaine like that. Like, no one else besides Gar would have been able to talk to him like that. And I feel like Gar had a certain influence. You know, another reason being Peace Cells was originally 7 minutes long, right? And then Gar said, how about we make it shorter? Let's make it, you know, 4 or 5 minutes, right? And it ended up being their biggest hit to date. So, yeah, you know, just wanted to, like I said, it's almost 1 a.m., but I just got into this, like, flow state of, like, Megadeth and the first lineup, and appreciation and love for the music, and compelled me to, you know, it's not my optimal setup. I don't have all my studio lights on. Definitely don't want to do that right now. It's almost time. It's time to go to bed soon, you know. But yeah, I just wanted to sit down and say I appreciate all of the likes, all the views, all the comments. It made me really feel really good. Now, Gar's legacy was going to go on, and, you know, has been going on with or without me, but it really made me happy and made me really satisfied to kind of do my part as a fan who has a lot of love and appreciation, to take his drums from Killing Is My Business and be the first one to put it on YouTube. And I was like, wow, this is so fucking cool. You know what I mean? Like, not only is the drumming absolutely amazing, but seeing everyone give him the praise, it really meant a lot to me. So, you know, if you watched this whole thing, heard me ramble and rant about all this stuff, you know, I appreciate you. But, you know, I appreciate everyone. So, yeah, keep rocking on, everybody.